Hi there, and welcome to another episode of the Strong by Design podcast. This is your host today, Coach Chris Wilson, and I'm really excited to be on this call today with our guest, a guy, very similar background, I'm sure in many ways to my life, very passionate love of fitness, of exercise, of muscle building. And this is somebody that's been doing a lot of it. As you can see, if you're watching the YouTube video, he's got his tank top on with his muscles hanging out all over the place. So obviously he knows his way around the gym. You're a man of faith, and this is something that's obviously super important to you, as it should be. And it is for me personally as well. When did this take hold in your life? Were your parents of strong faith, or did you grow up going to church, or do you have people in your family, or was this something that happened on your own?
This was something that I have to give credit to my mom so much for so much of who I am as a man, because my parents split when Matt and I were like one. So it was really early on. So the only thing I know is dads and moms, and they were vastly different households growing up, but it was normal for us because that's all we knew.
Yeah.
So, and on one hand, it's like my dad didn't go to church. We never really did anything like that. I had, a couple people on that side of the family that went to church, but it was it was never a priority on Sundays. On Sundays, it was about getting work done around the house. We were up early, outside, not allowed to watch TV type of thing, work. And when I look back on it, I am beyond thankful for that he gave me all those things. And he gave me my work ethic and the zero excuses. You're never a victim ever. You can make whatever you want out of your life type of thing. He was that type of guy. He still is that man today. And he taught me so much stuff. It's all these manly type of things, work on the car and work in the yard, build the house. And it's there's all these different projects all the time. And Matt and I worked like crazy, especially. So we were up there during the summers most of the time. Their houses were about a half hour away from each other. But it's you might as well put me on the other side of the moon because it was so different. It was outside of the city. My mom lived in the city. So it was so cool because it was a perfect storm of different things. We were able to experience the city and being in public schools around a lot of kids, a lot of friends, going to church, being around a lot of people with my mom. And then on my dad's side, it was just kind of secluded, but where we learned those just those manly type of traits that I'm so glad that I have as well. Yeah. But the faith side didn't come from my dad. It was my mom that was determined to keep us in church at a really young age. And she was raised Catholic, but she got more into the Christian faith. She felt a calling on her life at a really young age. And it was so weird because she knew she was going to have twins before she had us, before she was even married or anything. It's she felt that she saw this vision of these two boys running out the hallway and running around her legs while she's standing by the back door and holding onto her legs and playing and doing different things like that. And then it happened. That specific thing happened. So it's one of those things she knew before it ever did. And she's I feel my purpose was to raise you two and to be warriors for Christ. And she's she's had a hard life and everything, and she sacrificed so much for us. So I have to give her that credit. But she was the one that, raised us in church. And of course, for anybody that's listening to this that was, raised in church or is, it's it becomes kind of a normal, routinely type of thing. Sure. We were one of those where we were there on Wednesday nights, on Sunday, sometimes twice, because they have the morning service and then the evening service. And then sometimes my mom would have a singles group on Tuesday, and she would drag us to that, which we hated. But, it's stuff like that. We were in the church, and it was something that it shifted everything for me when I was in the church. I forget how old I was, but I was pretty young. I was probably maybe sixth or seventh grade. And it was right after the church, one of the services got out, and we went to a big church in Phoenix. And I just started to notice these families, the families that are around each other and stuff. And you have the kids, and you have, for some reason, the moms of the family, the wives, look super strong, super passionate about Jesus, passionate about their family, passionate about all those things. And they seemed as a little kid, I was picking up on this, that they seemed they were the ones leading the family. And I see these men, first of all, don't look like men and to what I'm used to. Of course, like I said, I'm around my dad a lot. I see in quote, what he thinks a man is in a physical type of way. When I look at you, do I see a man or do I see someone passive type of thing. So I had that in my head a little bit already. So I've already from the physical way, I'm like, that doesn't look like a man to me. But then he wasn't leading his family. He wasn't, or at least from what that was what I was picking up on. I don't know. Maybe they could have, maybe they went home and they were leading their, the Bible study, tucking their kids into bed, like telling them they love them, like all these different things that I feel like a man should do. But I didn't see that. And it was enough for me to see it on a regular basis that I'm like, I never want to have any part of that. Like, why isn't it like, I'm learning that that Jesus was like savage, man. Like when he was on the earth and he took on all these different things and against this evil and like stood up against the Pharisees and all these things, like Jesus was like hardcore when it came to those things. I'm like, these men don't represent him in, like, to me as a kid. I noticed this.
Yeah, that's very perceptive as a young person. Usually kids really aren't that that connected or that just don't have that. They lack that ability to notice that in other adults and stuff. But interesting that you notice this passivity in these other men. And yeah, that would be hard to take. What if you're used to the other side of it? Like you said, you grew up with a dad that was a very masculine kind of guy, a man's man.
A man's man, yeah, exactly. Could do anything. Like there's nothing my dad can't do, type of thing. Like I've seen him. Like it's like he was a professional athlete. He was a chef. He did multiple types of jobs. Crazy good in sales. I've seen my dad get bucked by a bull. Like that's the type of man. Like I've seen him thrown 15 feet in the air by a bull. Like how many kids can get to say that they've seen their dad? Like that's a whole nother story. If anyone wants to hear that story, hit me up and I'll tell you. Because it was crazy, and I was never scared for him, not even once. Wow. Anyway, so yeah, it's like I had all that, and then I saw this passivity, and I was like, there's got to be a way that you can mesh the two. Like this can't be all there is, and because I just felt it in my spirit, so that's where it was kind of like implanted into my mind. And then there was one day I was actually I was running this gym that was at a church, believe it or not. It was kind of like an old like Pure Fitness type of gym. It was donated. People didn't really use it. And I showed up at the right time, ended up taking over it. But it was like a nice dark dungeon gym. I loved it. It had Bible verses on the wall, but it was like empty, play loud music. It was great. I was like 21 years old and I was running this gym and taking clients out of there. And then I remember I was doing like heavy deadlifts one day and I set the weight down and I turned around and I looked at the wall and I forget what verse, to be honest, of what was on the wall. It was like the run and not grow weak type of, it was something like that. It was one of those verses. And this just like thought like came into my head where God's like, you see a problem. I gave you like an idea years ago. You saw a problem with the church, with the men in the church, with the men just in general, that they're weak and they're passive and they haven't stepped into their purpose of what they're called to be, what I've called them to be. Why don't you like do something about it? And I was like, well, what is there? And he's like, I want you to create. And he gave me the name of my brand, which is Mindset Fitness now. It's been that way ever since then. And it encompasses that principle of, and it turned into, it was my coaching. It started at the time because I'm like, what am I doing? God, what do I have in my hands right now that you can use? I have my clients right now that I'm already doing this. So it wasn't just about transforming their body and like, yes, they can have physical results. That's great. That's what they come to me for. But if there's a way that I can, kind of speak God into their life and speak, power and like over them and what they're doing, if they can leave the session they have with me and go home and feel better about themselves in a different way, and where they feel like they're drawn closer to God, or some of them start asking me questions about my faith and believing in God because they see my example and how I am every single day. That is the goal. So that's where it all started. And God put this vision in my mind. And ever since then, it's like I'm 31 now, but I started to work on a business plan for a gym that he put in my mind. And this wasn't like there's a million gyms that are out there right now that take clients or they do group training and stuff. They're very profitable gyms. Like there's a lot of them that do really well, that do the whole group training type of thing. And it wasn't that on any level. It was a public gym. And it wasn't some sort of mom and pop, like I'm just going to open a gym type of thing. It was like, this is going to be on a massive scale. And it's going to be something where like I'll use that as an example. If a guy's working like a 9 to 5 or something, and he's trying to provide for his family, or maybe he's even a young guy too, he's going to college, and he's just kind of dragging, like, oh man, I know I need to work out today, but it's like I don't really feel like working out, and they have to drag their butt to the gym and try and get through the workout and stuff. Maybe they're not really motivated and all those different things. And I'm like, you take that person, and like if they were to walk through these doors of this gym that I've envisioned, that I planned over the last 10 years, and it's like a force field where they walk into the presence of God in this place. And people that think that like the God only resides in the church, it's completely wrong.
Right.
It's like I felt him in the gym more than any place else. And why not in your place of business, or in your home, and all these different things? Like God is where you are, and it's like he wants you to bring him into these areas of your life. And I picture of this gym where people walk in and they feel it. They don't know what's different. They don't know how, but they feel it. And then, of course, all the details of how it's made. Like I want to be able to inspire and motivate people within 5 minutes or less every time they come into the gym. So it's about family. It's about the community. It's about everything that they can accomplish when they're in there. So, and there's a million details that I can go into of like how the gym is actually different from a lot of public gyms now. But it's overall, it's the feeling that they have. I'm like, if I can take that man, and when he leaves that place and leaves the gym, he not only had a good workout and he's getting towards his fitness goals and all those different things, but he's thinking differently. He goes home and now he treats his wife in a different manner, just maybe even just a little bit, or he talks to his kids in a certain way, or now he's not narrow of like, oh, I need to go to work tomorrow, I have to get up at 6 a.m., I have to do all these different things. He's now seeing the bigger picture of like, I need to leave a legacy for my family. I need to be the leader of my family. I need to like line up all of these different things. Now he's thinking so much bigger. Like I need to get in line with God again. Like I need to like lead my family. And it's so crazy because over the course of these like last few years where I've really been honing in on this type of thing, it's like fitness is the surface, right? It's getting people in. People are like, I want to get in shape. I want to do all those things. But then I have people message me saying that like, man, there's just something different like about this. I just feel something, and that's through my coaching and other things. They're like, man, I just feel God so much more. And it carries over, it bleeds over into other aspects of their life. And that's where it's the most important thing, because it's like, I don't want to get to heaven one day and be like, God's like, yeah, you help people get shredded and have abs and get huge, but what else did you do for the kingdom? And it's never about that. It's funny how it started that way, and God used the gym to mold me as a person. It's my own story. And I was like, if God could use me to do that, use the gym as that surface level thing, as a barrier to break through now, and he was able to reach me and pull me out and now use me to speak in life into other men, he can do that for anybody. And having a place like this to go to, like I would be in there every day. Like when you have, motivated, I'll give you like an example. There's some gyms now that have theaters in them, and they play movies and stuff to help you get through cardio and all those things.
Really?
And I had that idea before any gym ever put that in. Like it's in my business plan. I have it marked down in a notebook, actually, from years ago. But it wasn't about the movies or anything like that. It was about us as an organization creating content. And I know you guys know all about this, about creating that content that really grabs people. And it's like, it's something that no other gym could replicate because we're creating it.